Okay, we'll begin our work session.
As long as they can do it on the items that you usually are.
Very soon.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very quick tonight, just a few updates. First update is our overtime budget. Just kind of let y'all know, we are basically out of overtime. We spent so much overtime starting in the snow that we're getting really low. So we're still cutting on Fridays. We're still doing stuff on Fridays, so that budget's probably gonna be a little bit off, but I just kind of want to let y'all know, we're still utilizing it, but we are gonna overrun that. We're kind of looking at our budget numbers to see what we need to set that at next year. But we are making a lot of progress. We got 3 bush hog crews going. We're still running our stabilization machine. We've already made so much progress with that thing. It's been great. You guys have really figured out how to use it. And so everything's wide open. We're the road department is the only people you're gonna hear that are thankful for this drought we've been having, because it's been wide open work for us, and so we're thankful for it. But I am ready for it to rain. My tomatoes need it.
Well, Eric, my input on that would be, you gotta do what you gotta do as far as the overtime thing. We want everything, the people that will volunteer to work the overtime. I mean, we gotta improve on our, in my opinion, on these roads, the cutting especially.
This past Friday, we had 30 people volunteer. That's a lot. That's probably a marker of something else, of just the folks I think just need the money. You know, I think that's the big part of it. But 30 is a lot for us. And so, but I don't want to turn them down. I mean, we get so much done. We just get so much done on those days, because it's the gravy on top. You know what I mean? It's the day that we just get that extra cut and extra motor trim and extra. Last week we ran our big machine that day, so we just, you know, it's just adding another 20% to our work week. So.
We keep that up, maybe we catch it.
That's right. That's right. Which, speaking of herbicide, I don't know if you may have seen the consultant he ran. That guy, well, he starts at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Like we saw his truck at 4:15 on Highway 20 last week, confirmed. So like that guy, when daylight starts, he's already spraying. Like he's doing all his stuff to be ready. And those guys, I mean, when we say daylight to dark, those guys are daylight to dark. And so they have been spraying, and I'm starting to see it show up with this drought. That's another thing, that herbicide is highly effective in this weather. So he should finish, if it doesn't rain, probably 3 more days, he'll be done. And so that's going to help us a lot too. And so we're kind of getting, everything's coming together all at once. So next thing I just want to give you an update on the cement tanker we talked about last time. We got a bid that went out. That's in the process of going, but we may be able to buy one off Sourcewell. We're looking at that too, seeing how those numbers match up. And so we may not have to follow through with the bid. So, but I'll have more next time we meet on that. But only other thing, I had a long conversation with David Coons today at the city. You know, he does a lot of the same stuff we're doing. He and I are kind of having the same conversations on a lot of budget stuff, and talked to him about some snow stuff. And it just kind of reminded me, I want to give y'all an update. We are getting prices on spreaders to go in the back of dump trucks that would just spread like the historical ones that we've had. It's trickier than I want it to be. I mean, I'm like, sell me a spreader we put in the back of a dump truck, like it should be pretty easy, but all these beds that they don't make square dump beds anymore. They're all either rounded or they've got contoured edges at the bottom, and so it's a lot more custom. So we're working on all that, but just know that's all stuff we're doing out there. So if anything comes up and y'all have input or questions, I'm here to help any way I can. But we are getting prices on all this stuff. So. And that's all I've got.
What was the time of year on spraying like Johnson grass? I know it's at a certain time.
First couple weeks of August.
First couple weeks off?
Yeah, I mean, you can spray anytime in the summer, but the real sweet spot's the first half of August. Yeah.
I know several roads in my area, I don't know how it is everywhere else, it seemed like it had died down, and then this year.
Yeah. So what we usually do, we'll get through this cycle of spray with the consultants. We'll go out, we'll hit some dirt roads and fill in some gaps that they didn't do, and then we'll start spot spraying Johnson grass. So our trucks will go out, and basically they'll be looking for it. And so they see it, they'll just spot spray that. That chemical that it uses is just for that. You can do it any time of year, but it's really expensive. So we don't want to just go down the road. We'll just go and spot spray those. So with that'll start soon. So it's on your road,
That and different ones all over.
I'll do
South
it.
of Woods, Florida, there's several roads like it.
Okay, I'll do a work order on it. And it's something we're never gonna eradicate, you know. Usually, you know, you see a big patch of it, and, you know, we'll have the front half of it, you know, 2 years later, you look, and it's creeping back in, so. But, you know, getting it off the edge of pavement is the goal. So if we can get it back 20 feet, and then, you know, it's gonna take it several years to get back. All right, thank you.
All right, Tom?
Just a couple of things. I met today with representatives from Republic and talked about what they want to increase on us. He told me, he said, that's pretty frank with him. I said, I can go to Decatur for the same price you want to pay me, or maintenance pay. So he's gonna sit down with his accountant. He's promised me he'd let me know something tomorrow or Wednesday with another figure. Talked to Chris, there's a possibility we may just have to bid it anyway and do that. So, depending on the way the law reads. So we'll know something probably at the end of this week, one way or the other. This I told you I was gonna do, and I got this together for each one of y'all. It's a price listing of all the areas, garbage collections, what the rates are.
These are current rates,
Mhm.
so they're not the new rates. If they're going up.
If they're going up, it's on there if where it says it's made.
Or made,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's, you know, they haven't been approved of any, but that's what the current ones are right now. So it's something y'all can look at, check on before y'all make a decision one way or the other. Any questions? That's all I got.
And we do not charge on the second.
No, sir. The only thing we charge right now is a deposit of $75.
And then the third card, we charge.
We charge
How much is it?
17, so it'll be 34.
Same.
Yeah. Mhm. So. Anyway, that's all I had tonight, just something I could look at it and go from there, so.
Mr. Pettis, before we go any further, Ricky's here, we got blueprints for the building over there, if any of you guys wanna see the blueprints. I thought, that way you won't have to stay up here too long.
I'll just leave them with you,
Y'all want
kind of give you an update, if y'all want to pass it around. It's Judge Graves and all the judges have kind of approved that layout, and the architect, Mr. Sewell, drew it. Would kind of redirects the hallway a little bit. We've talked to the fire marshal, Brian Orr, and he says, you know, that looks good to him, but if it looks good to y'all, our architect says, he could probably get it out in 2 weeks, you know, as far as, you know, going out for bid. If there's any changes, we still got time, you know, if there's anything y'all wanna change. And he says that depending on what contractor that we wind up with, depending on how far out they are, he expects about 6 months of work time, you know, actual work time. Of course, if you get a contractor that wins the bid, they may be 2 months behind, but, you know, before they can even start. But he thinks a good timeline as far as after the job started is around 6 months, you know, so, but everything's pretty much in there, so if y'all wanna look at that.
Ricky, he didn't ever say a budget. Did the architect ever say a budget?
No, nothing, and he was hoping that, you know, when we got our bids in, that we'd know a little more, you know, but it's kinda weird because the way we're doing it, this is everything but HVAC, because we've put our HVAC in the other package that we did, so this is basically everything but mechanicals is what it'll be, and he's kinda coordinating with Train, they're the ones that's doing our HVAC, so they're saying probably on that floor, you know, 5 to 6 months for their mechanical stuff too, so, but this bid will be, you know, paint, floor covering, moving the hallway, all the applied electrical, new lighting, because they'll be removing the ceiling, because we've got hard ceiling, you know, up there now, instead of drop ceiling, so this bid will be, you know, and for putting back everything but the HVAC, So hopefully they'll be able to coordinate it with training, pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
You know, I think that judge is starting in January, is that right?
Well, good.
So we probably need to make a decision on that.
Yeah, well, I've got y'all set up to approve for us to go forward on the bid, and he'll set the bid out tomorrow if y'all are good with it. That's one of the resolutions on there. You can say no, whatever you wanna do, but I went ahead and put it on the agenda for today. And, he'll have a pre-meeting, and then he'll, do the 4 weeks out, and he'll have it sent out. We've already got several people that are interested in making offers and stuff on it, so. The main thing is trains, drugs, so this trains really held us back to a certain extent, because they've been so slow about getting everything. But, or, it's not like you can call down the street and get somebody else to do it, so. It seems to be going pretty good, and I think y'all like the fine, but it's pretty close to what you saw the last time.
Okay. Sounds good. Brad?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a lot today, just to bring you up to date with the EMS consulting contract. The consultant that the county and the city had hired will be in town on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. We've blocked off 9 o'clock in the morning and 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, if any of the commissioners would like to meet individually with the consultants. During those 2 days, we're also going to meet with the City of Florence Public Safety Committee, the Volunteer Fire Board, 911 supervisors, Mayor of the City of Florence, Chief Cavich from Waterloo, Russell Pig with the hospital, and the EMS advisory group. So that will kind of start that process. All the documentation that they had requested has since been turned in, but we do have those 2 times blocked off for the commission. If any of you wish to meet with them individually, if you'll just let me know if you do. The only other thing, we're moving forward, we're about 75% complete with having all of our employees EMD certified at 911 to start taking over dispatching. EMS, if you noticed in the media, there was a internet issue that happened late last week with a patch that was sent from a cybersecurity company that shut down a lot of services. That shut down Birmingham's dispatch capability for EMS. Thankfully, some of our staff had already gone through the EMD course, and so they were able to continue taking those calls. We made the decision around midnight to go ahead and swap over to our redundant phone system just as a precautionary matter. It never shut 911 down, but we did have that in place because the software had the potential of cutting callers off mid-call. So just as a fail-safe and protection, we did go ahead and switch that over until about 6 o'clock the next morning. But very thankful to our employees for kind of stepping up to the plate and making the decision when they realized that Birmingham couldn't take those phone calls to go ahead and start doing that, and so that worked very seamlessly. The only holdup we have right now, and I'm hoping that it's not a holdup with us taking over dispatching EMS September 1, is with their radio system. We've got everything squared away. They have the radios ordered that they're going to have, so just assuming that those radios come in time, then we'll be set. We've got about 90% of the logistics worked out with them. Next year when we swap CAD systems, they'll likely go ahead and just come onto our CAD system, which will be fine, but in the interim, they'll receive text pages of every call that goes out. We're building out a system to individually page them, much like we do with the volunteer fire departments, so that they can get that service. And so once they have their handheld radios, we'll be good to go. So we're moving forward with that. The last 2 groups of our dispatchers are going through the class this week and the beginning of next week, and then we'll be at 100% on our end and ready to move forward. So that's all I have for the commission tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Brad. Chris?
All right, last week, the City of Florence, through its litigation counsel, decided to file a declaratory judgment action dealing with whether or not the original act passed in '81 by Starkey, signed by Bob James on liquor tax was constitutional or not. When you, as a qualified person, which a city or county is, claim that a statute is unconstitutional either in its application to you specifically or generally, then declaratory judgment is the way you go about questioning it. You get in front of a judge. And in that, anytime somebody seeks to find a statute unconstitutional, the state of Alabama is a player. Attorney General Marshall will serve with this as well. His office can weigh in or they cannot weigh in. It's their option. The bottom line is the 18-page document goes basically through the history of the act itself, and basically goes back to the original passage of alcohol beverage control and taxation from 1936 and lays it out paragraph by paragraph. Matter of fact, that's the majority of the document. Boiled down to its essence, it states that in '81, when this act was passed, of course, there were no municipal options. The county was either completely wet or it was completely dry. Some of this is supposition, but he surmises in his document that Starkey and them did this because they were afraid of losing, potentially in lieu of tax payments from TVA if the county went wet. And they were anticipating a wet-dry vote based upon the 71 statute that dealt with taxation thereof, and the fact that Carver County had gone wet, it was making all kind of tax dollars. And he was correct about that. A year later, they had a wet-dry vote and it lost. City went wet, county went dry, but the dries outnumbered the wet, and therefore it stayed as a local act that was inapplicable because there was no wet municipality. Then you get into the city option bills that were passed in '84, and then you get into the general taxation documents that are statutes that were passed subsequent to that, i.e. after the '81 local act bill. I mentioned some of this to y'all when we first researched it, and so did Webb and Evie when they sent that memo we went over when they took beer out of it and this out of it, because it is extremely convoluted and complicated. The bottom line being this: in general, they're trying to say that the subsequent acts passed repealed either explicitly or by implication the '81 local act, and that a local act cannot change general law, that's well-established constitutional precedent. They also rely on an '89 AG opinion by Graddick that talked about the inability of a dry county to regulate wet municipality tax collection, and they base it on implication rather than explicit repeal. So that's their opinion. They want a judge to rule on it. They do cite in here something that I did not know, that obviously they found through research, but in '89 the commission from Judge Hanbury sent a bill or advertised a bill to repeal the law, but it never got filed. They ran it, advertised it, but never got filed. That has nothing to do with the constitutionality of the act, but I found that interesting. Now, I've spoken with our attorney Lockwood, who is busy researching it. He feels we have some very valid defenses, and one I'm going to be very interested to see later in the week, whether because this complaint says that we're an anomaly, that this is one of a kind in the state, and he thinks that that may not be true. We'll find out through his research this week. But the way that it will work is one of two ways. One, simply file an answer denying or stating our position that we won't take the position it was constitutional, and any other position beyond that. And number two, whether or not we go ahead as part of that litigation and counterclaim for the collection of whatever tax the judge says is owed. Is it the entire amount? Is it this amount? Of course, if he declares it unconstitutional retroactively, then the deal is done except for an appeal. If he splits the baby, it could be appealed. But the first step is to litigate it. It shouldn't take as long as a normal lawsuit does, because it's quite frankly a simple question. Is it or is it not constitutional under sections 104 and 105 of the Constitution of the State of Alabama? Once I get, and he and I brainstorm most of the morning together, once I start getting his rough draft proposals for counter petition, answer, and possibly counterclaim, then I will immediately bring it to you. But we have plenty of time to research it, and he's doing his due diligence. He hit the ground at 7:30 this morning with his first call to me. So, I know that's a lot of gobbledygook, but it all boils down to this. Is their position about general versus local act viable, and does it affirmatively make the '81 Act unconstitutional? or is it not? And if it's not, what are they up? And it boils down to that, 18 pages to put that one question in front of the judge. And so, I was gonna do a memo for y'all on one page, but just my notes were fixing to go into, and then I told Roger I'd keep it to one page, so I finally gave up and thought I'd just tell it to you orally. We should have something rough draft form by the end of the week. Of course, I'll keep Brenda in the loop and keep all of y'all in the loop as well. That's all I got to do.
Joe, do you have anything? You want to get any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, area, you know, of course, have always been a fan of mowing on the sides of these roads. Do you feel that we are gonna be able to at least cut one time every road in the county?
Yes,
Not two times, but one time?
one time, yes.
And the point I'm trying to make is, you know, you spray the Johnson grass that you guys are talking about, but you still got the stem. And, you know, years before, when they were cutting the sides of the road, they really looked good. And this is just my opinion. But when we started spraying, we took away some of the beauty from the sides of the road. So, you say you have 3 bush hog crews right now? East end, middle, and west end?
Yes.
How many tractors are on? 9?
No. I think we've got 4 at Brown Equipment. I'd have to look today, but we've got a lot of tractors down today. Now, we're hoping within a week to have all them back running, and it would be 9. But we've got a bunch of them down right now. Transmissions, mostly.
Is this equipment that we're talking about, is it obsolete, old, wore out?
I mean, it's getting more out. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I mean, is it something we need to do to buy more equipment?
I was gonna ask for 3 more bush hogs in my budget this year. Yeah, I think it would help, for sure.
Because that's not gonna help this year, right?
October it would, but yeah. And then well, no, because it takes them so long to build them. That stuff takes so long to get, you know, they have to put all that stuff on it, because the tigers are what's going.
Well, even though I'll be gone in November, I'll still be riding the roads.
Sure.
And I never have been a fan of that spraying. Because you still leave the same thing that you spraying. Never leaves, never goes away except the winter time when it rots eventually.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, that's just my opinion. I was curious about how many tractors we had running as of right now. And you saying we probably got 5 maybe?
Probably. One crew's only got 1 tractor, I know that.
What is that?
I don't know. I don't remember which crew it was. We took, because we've got 4.
I'm not picking on you, I'm just trying to make a
Well,
point here.
I can find out before 5 o'clock, but yeah. But off the top of my head, I don't remember which crew had what, but I can find out.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I have.
Anything else? All right, we'll let the department heads go.
You know, I read an article that was in the paper this week about hiring that gun and not have crews for them, cutting grass, but that's cheaper than doing it yourself.
Them what?
Doing it yourself. It was an
Hiring
article
grass
in the
cutters?
paper, yeah.
I didn't see that.
It was in the paper. I can't remember what day it was. They didn't say what company, but there's a couple of counties that are doing that. I hadn't talked to any of them yet.
I'm not a fan of that either, because these companies a lot of times bring out-of-towners to do the work. And to me, I like to keep everything as local as you can. So that, something like that's always debatable. understand that.
Well, I mean, you know, if you want it cut, yeah, you know, they can. they'll
Yeah,
cut it.
well, and it certainly needs to be cut. This spraying, that's for the birds with me.
Well, I don't have a whole lot. Has anybody thought any more about this retirement insurance and not, y'all need to just let me know, are we gonna offer it or not?
Yes.
We are gonna offer it.
Me and
So
Brad
we will-
Black vote yes.
Okay, so we'll have to do a resolution, so will it pass? Okay, so I'll do a resolution at the next meeting, because our resolution says we can offer it to them right now. That's it. Doesn't matter to me, whichever way y'all, you know.
You got I kind of pressure right now.
I don't think we'll have anybody take it anyway, it's gonna be so expensive, you know.
Yeah. Well, just.
But
just have to
they
offer
can't
it.
say they didn't offer it, that's right.
That's all.
I'm still working on the holiday schedule, we're gonna have to pick them, and I didn't bring the calendar, but there's 4 Mondays, and there's only 3 holidays that we're gonna change, so y'all have to pick which one y'all want it to be.
Well, and, you know, I kind of studied this a little bit too, and I've talked to a couple of department heads. It could be, we might, instead of doing 3 floating holidays, maybe just do 2 floating holidays. And we can kind of kick that around a little bit.
We can talk about it. I'll get a calendar made up so we can talk about it
When you
and
get
see
it,
what
when
we're
we
talking,
look at
yeah,
it.
when I got time. Because it's not something that's gonna start till next year anyway, you know. We gotta finish up the year before we get to that. And Mr. Carney is coming to the work session on August the 5th. He talk about the Lauderdale County Convention and Business Bureau. And Mr. Hackworth, you wanna talk about the sign? And I've got the packet.
Sure.
I've got one of the packets if you wanna let everybody look at it.
Gentlemen, Brenda and I met with Trent Butler of Columbia Sign about our signage that's on the 2 ends of the building. And here's some, he brought us some examples here.
You can kind of see what it would look like on the building. It's a little bit wider.
And you can use any colors, you can use, you know, you can just about say anything on there, you just, whatever you want to have put in.
Well, this is a change
It's-
of sign.
Yeah, it's totally changing those signs out.
I mean, it's a electronic
Yes,
sign
yes.
that you can key in whatever you
It's
want.
programming.
Whatever
I
you
like
want it to
that. I
say.
like that.
It'll
That's-
scroll, and then you can make it where it'll be scrolling for a while, and then it'll stop and go back to temperature and time, like it used to be years ago.
Okay. 12 feet by 4 feet.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's gonna be a little bit longer, be about the same height up and down, but it'll be a little bit wider.
And this company that he uses is also on Sourcewell. So we can buy, huh?
Here's one of those packets.
So we can, this Watchfire is on Sourcewell, so we can buy directly from them and then just turn around and hire, say, Columbia to install. Comes with a 5-year contract or
And a 3-year.
a 5-year warranty.
Yeah.
And
It's not January 15th, though, is it?
covers all parts and plugs and pieces for those years.
Yeah. Does that, they suggested it goes here instead of here, or is that,
That's where the 2 original ones were.
or here?
Yeah.
So it'd be.
There's 3.
There's 3.
I think there's 3 signs, there'll be one there, and then one on the corner.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, now where's that again?
I think, now, you might be confused, but I think it's this corner, there's 3. There's
Okay.
one here, and then one on the side, when you come around the corner there.
Okay.
I believe that's what it is, I have to double
I
check.
remember 2, I remember 3.
Yeah, he's priced for 3.
Okay.
It's, what I liked about it is, you know, we can write Merry Christmas on there if it's Christmas Day. We can write on there courthouse closed due to holiday. Things like that that we've never been able to do. People come all the way to the door and realize we're closed because it's,
You know, some of our
Halloween.
holidays, like we
Yeah.
talked about, it's not a federal holiday, and the banks are open, and schools
That'd be
are
what they
open.
put on it.
So we could put, you know, we put it on our website that we're closed, but we could also put it on the signage as well as on the front door.
So you can
And that's just on this building, right?
Yeah. But you could just put, county commission, offices closed, you wouldn't have, you could put entire buildings closed, you could, it's got enough writing that you could put that on there. So when somebody comes in, because sometimes the state offices are gonna be closed and we're not going to be closed, we'll be
If
open.
it is 3 and it's this corner, this corner, I don't really know if we need this one.
We'll have to look, I know it's 3, we'll have to look and see.
I mean, I'm just thinking, you coming that way, you're gonna see this end. You coming from that way, Tennessee Street coming in, you definitely see this. That's just my opinion, it's kind of doubling up.
I would recommend everybody kind of take a look at it and see what would you notice. But we'll price them out on Sourcewell, because we didn't know what it would cost, we was gonna have to bid
Well,
it.
Sourcewell, we won't
Yeah.
have to bid it, we can just take the estimate they gave us for it. And, so I'll get you copies of that and send it to you so you can see it.
And that would be something we'd have to bid.
No, we don't have
We
to
don't have
bid.
to bid.
Sourcewell State Alabama, it's state bid.
Oh,
So we don't have, and it is a local company in the area.
yeah.
They're local, they're out in Central, is that where they're at?
Where's that?
I think they're out in Central.
yeah.
So- Yeah, that guy,
He lives in.
he's on Jackson Highway in Sheffield, I'm sorry. It's local though. And, so I'll get y'all a copy of that so you can see that, and then, let's see what's next. I got a letter today from St. Florine, they'd like to have $5,000 for Oktoberfest, that we can charge to tourism. Is everybody good with that? We gave them that last year.
I'm good with it.
Okay, then, I know I told y'all that the farmer's market, Ricky, we've been over there doing some work, and, we realized that the roof is kind of nasty over there, and we don't have any leaks right now, but we're fixing to. And so we got a couple of estimates, and, it's, we don't need gutters or anything like that, all of our gutters and everything are fine. The best estimate we got was for $68.50, and that's MGR, which is a local company that we've used before. to
That
do
shingles,
What?
that shingles.
It is.
Yes, that's shingles, yes. And he's got a list of everything. They'll tear off everything, put up all new, except, like I said, he put a price with the gutters and downspouts, and we told him we didn't need that. And
Do
take
we
care.
have I know the man got well, went back to work. Do we have a posted on our website of hired somebody?
Yes, we do,
Yeah. Now, why are we doing that if he's back to work?
because he's not, we don't have a backup, so I wanted to hire somebody that can work if he's not available.
Okay, so
'Cause-
then we'll be having 2 people?
We won't have 2 people all the time, but we will have to have somebody up there when he, a lot of times he doesn't call us with enough notice to get somebody. So the last time he called, I found out like 2 hours before we closed, he wasn't gonna be there the next day. I need to be able to call somebody that knows what to do to go over there.
How we gonna, just, they would.
This girl just wants to work a few days every once in a while, she's willing
If
to do
he's not
that.
able to be there, this person, we hired somebody that could be
They can work and
there. They wouldn't be
make-
working if he's working.
No.
Yeah,
In fact,
okay.
I was gonna talk to y'all about that. I don't even know if we need to open on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because the farmer's market, we have six to 7 people there on Tuesday and Thursdays. And he works 8-hour days. We don't even make enough to pay for anybody to be over there at the farm. So we need to think about that. Now, Saturdays, they usually rent most of the booths, not all of them, but some of the booths are, and we do make enough money to pay his salary. But if he works 8 hours on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, we barely make enough money to cover his costs. If we do, we might want to think about not being open as long on Tuesdays and Thursdays if that's the case. But I mean, it's almost just as cheap to let people go over there and set up, and they wouldn't have a restroom or anything, but they could go over and set up if they wanted to. But they had 6, the days we had 6 on that Tuesday, and then, it seemed like that Thursday we had 7 booths, and that was all we rented. We just charged $10. He makes $15 an hour, so, we'd just be better off just let him not to, you know, not to maybe have a free session, it'd be just as, you
Well,
know.
how many people showed up?
That's why I said, we rented 6 booths
Right.
on
How many
Tuesday.
people all showed up?
Customers.
Oh, I don't know, but what I'm saying is, we could still let them set up, we just wouldn't charge them, there wouldn't be anybody over there, they wouldn't be able to get to the bathroom or anything, but they could still be over there in the open booths. We just wouldn't, you know, we just wouldn't be charging them.
And then just have him coming in on Saturday.
Just have him coming in on Saturday when we actually have people there. Because, I mean, that's what he said, he usually has 6 or 7 people on those days during, well, you know, most of the time on Saturday, Tuesdays and Thursdays, people, you know, they work. He may have some people come over there at 7 o'clock in the morning or early, and probably by 10 or 11, they're gone anyway. I went by there, I think it was Thursday, and it was about 11:30 or something, and there was, you know, just a few vendors. It's just not a good time for people to drive. Now, the Isom guy from Athens drove up and rented a booth, but he was the only one that probably sold completely out. The Peach guy he's been up there for the last 2 or 3 times, but I've been up there last Saturday, we had a really good turnout, and we probably rented every booth, but the week before that, we had a really good Saturday, but we didn't rent every booth. And, so, you know, if you think about it, I just don't know if it's worth it actually physically open, you know, where we charge somebody to sit up. People go over there and sit up all the time during the week.
Right.
And, you know, nobody would just put their, you know, back in there and sell a few things. Any day, you can go by there and see a car or two parked out there, you know. It's just something to think about. You know, it doesn't matter to me, but we don't, you know, the farmer's market's not making a killing or anything. And we've got enough money to cover this roof in our account to cover the roof damage, but on a month-to-month basis, we don't make a lot of extra money. We hadn't had to do any but, you know, we put a new roof on the awning part of it a couple of years ago. That took pretty much the money we had, but we only charged $10 a booth, so.
I did attend the free tomato sandwich Saturday. There was a line of people getting tomato sandwiches.
And we have the vendors out there.
Yeah, it was a crowd of people there.
Well, there was a crowd of people the Saturday before. They said you'd been there just a little bit before me, and there were tons of people shopping, and that was probably about 10:30 that Saturday morning. I'd been over there early because the guy wasn't working, and just to make sure that, see, we had to pay people overtime to come over there and work those 2 days, you know. And Saturday, we really needed 2 people over there because there were so many people, and they weren't used to working and collecting and all that stuff. So I went over and helped get them set up. But most of the vendors are, you know, pretty pleasant. There's a couple of people that aren't happy, but most everybody's pretty happy with the way things are going, and we keep it clean and stuff like that. And so, but it's
I'd
just
like to suggest as far as the Tuesdays and Thursdays, what about if we let Brenda reach out to the board and see if they'd like to just maybe have it on Tuesdays and Thursdays with no charge. If we're only getting, you know, 5 or 6 vendors setting up, could be we just let them run it free if the board, if they think it'd be a good idea. And if they've got reasons why they don't think we should, then we'll let them make that decision.
I mean, because I don't really, I mean, like I said, it's not like we're getting rich off of this over there. I mean, you know, and the trash would still be able to get to, and I did take some of our trash bags over there and gave them out to people, some of the trash bags that we got for cleanup. And they did use them, and that Saturday. And I took a couple of rows out there and gave them, so they hadn't got any reason not to take their trash out or have room to put it in the dumpster out there or whatever.
I didn't realize they slowed down, but I know I'm going back 10 years, and it seems like there's a lot of people there. But this may have something to do with now that the municipality is killing the health.
You got them
3
all
to
over the
6 or
county.
something, different ones.
Killing's got one.
And that may have cut down.
Rogersville's got one,
Yeah.
Lexington's got one. I'm sure it probably has, you know, that when you looked in the East Lauderdale News, I was surprised at how many farmers markets there were out there that way.
Saturday, I was talking to one of the vendors, and he had sold, he was so tickled, he had sold a ton of vegetables. He had Mr. Putnam had brought all kind of pallets of vegetables and so on.
But he probably lives more than that. I don't mean sell more than that.
But he's good, he has good stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll send them a letter and see what they say, talk to them, see if they can send them all. But I just thought, you know, as much money as we're not really losing money, but we're not really making any those 2 days. Just something to think about. It's late in the year anyway. It's not gonna be, you know.
Well, that way we stay open.
Stay open, and the days that people come in, and if we started picking up a lot of people, we could go back, you know, go back and have somebody.
If they needed somebody there.
That they needed somebody there with them or whatever. But, I know.
Would that affect the employment?
Not really, I mean, you know, it would, he would make as much, but, you know, he works 8 hours a day, and then he's been over there an extra hour weekdays before, and that wasn't part of his job. He said to blow it off, but I had my maintenance guys over there, we did everything over there, we cleaned off the floor in that kitchen, and, I mean, that area and all that stuff.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, it is, and we cleaned it up really good and everything, so. But I haven't talked, he's back at work, though, he came back to work, and they had a good crowd. I didn't go over there Saturday, but they had a good crowd, because, you know, I go by there coming out of my house there. Chris told you about the lawsuit. They served me with that lawsuit this week. And what about, y'all said to go ahead with St. Florine?
Yes.
And then, the roof, y'all good with the roof? Okay, and then, we don't have to bid that out, because it's only, $6,800. And the RSVP dinner, y'all missed, they had a big dinner, they had a big, huge crowd, and, Chris Conley, he's the host, you know, he wore me out up there the other night, but I got him back. When it was my turn to get up and talk, I told him that I was not an elected official, so I wasn't gonna be up here all night. I love that. They were gonna get to eat after I talked, you know, so everybody, they didn't care what I said, they were just ready to eat.
yeah.
But they had a big crowd,
That's good.
and so that's, the other thing that I had thought about when we're sitting here, that I'd like to discuss with the sheriff is, you know, since we've had some security issues and things, when maybe at the hour before our meetings, we have somebody at the door and you get secured, you get warned before you come in the room up here, because we don't have that at the door like we used to on this building. And I just feel like we need that when you know, maybe at 4 o'clock, or when our meeting starts at 5, or the work session comes, Reggie's here anyway, we could just bring up one of the ones from next door, and, you know, that's something the girls have talked about, that, you know, we've all thought about that. And we're fixing to have I'm fixing to, have security meetings with all the departments. We're gonna have a guy come up and talk to us about, the guy that got us started on the badges and stuff is gonna come back up and give everybody, come up with some plans, what to do if you have an active shooter type situation or whatever. That's one of the things that we're working on to start in the next year with. Seemed like a good idea. Yeah, it does a little, you know, something that we need to think about. And then, probably next week or the week after, I'll start posting, and if you're really interested and want to come to the budget meetings, Sheriff's turned his budget in, and we've had a lot of people turn their budgets in, so we can get started probably sometime next week, looking at individuals' budgets. That's all I got.
Anything else? Brendan High School, we're going Wednesday, farmers and merchants, CD. We'll get 4.5, this will be reviewed for 5.1. Okay. 12
Okay,
months.
farmers.
And merchants, been 5.1 for 12 months.
That's good. That's a good range.
Came up a little bit. After the range of all the banks was from 3 to 5.1. A lot different.
That's a big difference.
Depends on which banks need money to loan.
Yeah. That is a big difference, though.
It is. It's always maybe possible 1.5. This time it got
Yeah.
about wide range. Okay. All right. We can wait till 5 o'clock, I guess.